What's good, y'all? What's good, Real Talk Squad? This is Miles, and you're listening to Real Talk with MJ, where you know we always keep it real. Now, today I got a special guest, my brother, my Morehouse brother, Chris Dumas. What's good, bro?
What's good, y'all? My name is Chris, as he said, and I'm excited to be here today.
Let's get it. Let's get right into it, man. Let's talk about the NFL and our biggest surprises of Week 12. So, what was your biggest surprise, of this past weekend?
I would say, truthfully, my biggest surprise would be Cam Newton, his performance. I believe he was 5 for 21, and I just expected him to be like a lot better. Like I didn't, maybe not the W's coming, but like just a good performance by him, because we know like all the adversity he faced and like what he's been through throughout the season. So I would think that it's time for him to deliver. Like this is not no more. Because when he got released, everybody was like, okay, he didn't deserve this. He's this like caliber of a player, and he has to show that.
Yeah.
It's the bottom line. He has to show that he hasn't.
Yeah,
He
like
hasn't yet.
I was one of his biggest supporters. Like,
Right.
there aren't 32 quarterbacks in the league better than Cam Newton or whatever. And yesterday, he proved all those executives, Bill Belichick, that cut him for a rookie Mac Jones, all of them right. Because 5 for 21, like that's bad. Like that's like around like what 27%.
With 2 picks.
Two picks,
Yeah.
and they're not talking about some world beater. It's the Miami Dolphins that were. I mean, they've been on a roll now, but they're still like they were like a 3-7. Like now they're a 4-7 team. They aren't a good team.
Yeah.
So for you to do that against the Dolphins, I'm not gonna lie, I had some money on the Panthers. I thought they was gonna win.
No, of course.
Had a parlay on them.
Like you
and
said,
they folded on me.
like you said, it's the Dolphins. So I'm like, okay, it shouldn't be that bad of a day for Cam.
Yeah.
But like it really made you question, like, dang, like, is Cam really like as good as people think he is right now?
Yeah, he said something like, just because you have Cam Newton doesn't mean your team is gonna win. Somebody in the comments said, well, if you have Cam Newton on your team, that means you're gonna lose. I was cracking up.
Yeah.
But it's gonna be harder for them too, because then they got Christian McCaffrey out.
But people were talking about them being able to make the playoffs slightly because their last 4 games or the next 4 games were easy. Like were easy games, and the Dolphins were one of them. They were favorites in all of them. But then like their final stretch of their final schedule is very, very difficult. So like they were saying if they win these games, like they play the Bucks, the Saints, and then the Bucks again.
Bills, Bucks, Saints, Bucks.
Like that's
last 4 games.
Yeah, you definitely should have took advantage.
They 5-7 right now.
Yeah.
I mean they play the Falcons, so
it's highly unlikely that they make the playoffs now.
Yeah,
especially in the division that they're in and how they performed against these teams that they're supposed to beat.
Yeah, because they should have beat Washington and they should have beat the Dolphins, so they really should be 7-5 right now. Now they're 5-7, and you got at least 3 games on here. The Bills, the Bucks twice. I don't see them winning those games. Maybe the Falcons, maybe the Saints. Falcons been playing better with Cordell Patterson and all that, but it's going to be a long, uphill road. Now, my biggest surprise, or like the biggest shocker for me, see, I'm an Eagles fan. We laid the egg against the Giants. Particularly Jalen Hurts. He had like 3 picks. Now, I'm the biggest supporter of Jalen Hurts, but I'm gonna call him out. I'm gonna call him out when he's on his BS. And he had some terrible picks. Like he threw one pick. He threw one pick to Jalen Reagor. He was in double coverage. I'm like, this dude is not D-Hop. He's 5'11". He's not gonna jump over 2 guys. Like I don't know what he's thinking with that. A couple of times we were in the red zone. He threw a pick there too. But at the end of the game, I mean, Jalen Reagor. I don't know what it is about wide receivers in the Eagles wide receivers dropping the balls. Thinking about Nelson Aguilar, Alshon Jeffrey.
Yeah.
But he just missed 2 tutties. Like 2 tutties, like it was right. Like Hurts put it right in the platter. Like Hurts had a bad game, but at the end of that game, I mean,
he's trying to pull it together.
He pulled it together. He had it right on a silver platter for him, and it just dropped through his hands. So I just don't see how you can just do that as a wide receiver like twice, like 2 tutties. That's crazy, bro.
I think the Eagles as an organization needs like they need some fine tuning for real. But I hope and I pray. I think it's looking to like Jalen Hurts is their quarterback right now. I hope it stays that way. But of course, he's gonna have some of those growing pains. This is his first year being a full-time starter. So there's gonna be games like this. He's still young, so I just hope that they don't just bail out on the system and like they continue to stick on the pad. So
yeah, facts. Because coming into the season, it was questions of is he the quarterback or not. Well, I'm like, you drafted him in the second round. He basically took Carson Wentz's spot.
Yeah.
Why don't you roll out with the guy for at least a year, see how he does? And aside from yesterday's game, he's been pretty good.
They don't have a team for him.
Exactly.
So he's doing all he could do, honestly. So.
Exactly. He doesn't have that many playmakers on the offense. I mean, they didn't traded away Zach Ertz, one of his best playmakers on offense. So it's not like they're really supporting him a lot. But with the pieces that he does have, he's been doing well. But yesterday against a couple days ago against the Giants, I mean, that was bad. And the fact that they picked Jalen Reagor one pick ahead of Justin Jefferson in the 2020 draft in the first round, just like gets me so irritated, bro. Because like we could add Devontae Smith and Justin Jefferson on the same team, same lineup.
Devontae Smith, he's having a solid season too. He's still young. He's had a few games here and there. So I mean, they look promising. I just think that like when you have a promising young team like this, you have to just stay on the course. You can't really like deviate. But I do think there needs to be tweaks and stuff in their coaching staff and like just in their organization.
Yeah, because if they're looking to get a quarterback in this year's draft, it's not like he's gonna be coming into a team that's
And this year is very low on quarterback.
Exactly.
It's
not like last year or whatever. So it's gonna be. They might as well just rock out where it hurts. He's shown that he's a leader. The team gravitates towards him. So I'm gonna still stick beside him, even though that was a pretty terrible game by him. And Jalen Reagor ain't gonna let him off the hook because that was a terrible game by him. Let's get into Michigan's win over Ohio State. Now I was shocked when I saw this. What was your thoughts on Michigan pulling off the upset?
Well, I'm a Michigan fan. I've always been a Michigan fan since I was a little kid. So I've seen them beat Ohio State one time in 2011. So seeing them coming in today, I'm not gonna lie, I had no hope. Going on this Saturday, I had no hope. I was telling myself that, and I was like, no, this is not. It's not gonna look good for us. Cause like it's our playing style. But I was proven wrong. Like it was our playing style that really got us the win. Like us maintaining that run game and holding them on defense, like in the important areas. Like in the red zone, they were not converting. All their scores came from outside of the red zone. And every time they got in the red zone, they held them. They held them every single time. So I feel like the game plan was very strong, and it looked very great on John Harbaugh's career. Like he was not looking good. It was not looking good before this. But they played a really great game. Hassan Haskins went crazy. Like if he was
28 carries, 170 yards.
Yeah, they
5 TDs, 5 touchdowns.
I think that's the most in Michigan history. First of all, I know that for a fact, and I think it's tied for the most touchdowns in that series, between Ohio State and Michigan. So, like that was a great performance, and I'm excited to see what they're gonna do in the playoff. Now, I do think the playoff is gonna be a lot different because we know we're gonna have Georgia there. We know we're gonna have Alabama here. It was close though because they were about to lose, but we know we're gonna have Alabama there. And I think that SEC play and Big Ten play are two different game styles. So I'm interested to see how they clash. Because in the past, the Big Ten has won up on that series because of the way they play. So we're gonna see what happens. Hopefully we win the natty.
Yeah, we're gonna see, and like you said, them rushing the ball was really like the tail of that game. To rush for almost 300 yards and really control, the time management of the game. Really control the pace of the game. This is probably, would you say this is the biggest win in Michigan football history, or at least, past 10, 15 years?
As of recent, yes.
Because they're going to be in the college football playoff.
Yeah.
Because they were number 5. Ohio State's going to be out. You can't have two losses. You can't have two losses. So not only are y'all going to be in the college playoff, but you're also knocking out your biggest rival out of the college playoffs. So, it's always been a knock on Jim Harbaugh that, he hasn't gone over the hump Well, this year, Michigan
looking like
has
he's
gotten
doing
over the
well.
hump,
Yeah.
and the only loss was against Michigan State, and
That was
a close game. That was a close game. It could have gone either way.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the best Michigan team under
That
Jim
he's had.
Harbaugh. Yeah, for
Well,
sure.
we also have to take into account that like when he got there, in college it's a lot different because you have to get in your recruiting class.
Yeah.
So it took him. Well, we didn't realize we were impatient. It took him a lot of time to get his players in and really thoroughly run his system. So I mean, now we seeing over the last 2 years. Now we see that it's looking on the up and up. It's looking good for him. So
Yeah.
I'm excited to see what he's going to do this year and next year.
Yes. I mean, they brought him here just for this. So it'll be exciting to see what they do in the playoffs. Now, let's get into the NBA. Let's talk about the Los Angeles Lakers. I mean, they got a win over the Pistons yesterday or a couple days ago. But you have any concerns over the Lakers? The fact that their defense looks a little shaky.
Yeah.
What about
Here
AD,
goes-
Russ? What's your thoughts on the Lakers?
Here
Any
goes
concerns?
again, my team, Lakers on my team again. And me just watching them, I just feel like, honestly, I wouldn't jump ship too soon and say like their season just over is through the window because I feel like they will make a way. And when they sign Russell Westbrook, and people were saying I don't know how that's gonna work, my thought process is this: LeBron is not like co-signing a decision like that unless he's confident that he can make that work.
Fact.
We're 20 games into the season. Like I don't think this is any time to panic, but I do think like wins over the Detroit Pistons are just what's supposed to happen. So I don't think that really gives us much information about where they are as a team. But like I do think I'm glad they got the win, but I do think that we need to see some more from them.
What I will say with them, they're 500 right now, and they've like barely beat. What concerning part for me is they barely beat like the bad teams in the league.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
teams like the Kings, you should be beating the Kings. They should be putting 140 on you.
Yeah.
Like the Pistons, one of the worst teams in the league. They shouldn't be giving you a run for the money every single time they see you.
That's ridiculous.
The OKC, then they stole 2 wins off them, coming back from damn near 20 points down each of the times that they've played each other. So they got to first beat the teams that are below 500 that aren't as good because they aren't doing well against the teams that are above 500. They lost to the Celtics, lost to the Bucks, to the Warriors early in the year, the Trailblazers. So they're getting some wins against the below 500 teams, but they just need to be more dominant against those teams. Especially you don't want to have a guy like Bron, 36, 37 years old, 19th year, and have him running up his minutes against the Pistons, or they should be really blowing these teams out to preserve LeBron's health, because you don't want LeBron and all those guys, especially AD, he's made of glass or whatever, for him to run up all these minutes in the regular season.
Get ready for the playoffs.
Get ready for the playoffs,
Yeah.
and I think one thing I would expect them to do better without LeBron, because I thought, like you said, bringing in Russ. It was calculated. LeBron knew that he wanted Russ. I think, especially during the regular season.
to run. So he wanted the offense to run through Russ. He wanted to get the ball less because that makes it like he doesn't have to do too much right now.
Yeah,
which is a smart plan. But I feel like they're just getting acclimated to how Russ plays, honestly, and Russ is getting acclimated to how they play. So I'm gonna give him a little bit more time. I'm not gonna push the panic button too soon. But it is certainly alarming for real.
What I will say is, with all LeBron teams, during the middle of the season, it's always like, oh my gosh, like this team is so bad, or whatever. The media tries to act like they're so bad.
Yeah.
Now I think that come at the end of the season, that all their problems will be addressed, like on defense.
Yeah. I
Especially.
see them. Yeah. As of right now, I see them being like a 6 or 7 seed.
But then if they're a 6-7 seed, that means every series is gonna be home. Every series you're gonna have a disadvantage because you're gonna be the away team. I'd rather them. They can be top 4.
I don't know about top 4, especially in this West. In the West right now, I don't see it.
So
I don't
if
see
they're
it.
not top four, so you think that they can still go through the West if they're a 6 or 7 seed?
Nah, I don't have them winning the title this year. So I don't.
Oh, who you got winning the title?
The Warriors.
Oh, we gonna get into them a little bit later.
So I really don't. I see them being the 6 or 7 seed, maybe 5th. I can see them being the 5th. But like as far as, because you have to think about it. You have the Warriors right now. You have the Suns who won 18 games straight.
Mm-hmm.
So you have these, and that's the top two. You still have the Nuggets who have been performing very good. You have a lot of teams right now that are doing better than them and can maintain that, like strongly maintain that pace.
But for the Lakers, you know, if you have Bron, you got Russ, you got AD on your team, expectation is to win a title.
Yeah.
So if you said there's no panic, there's no you know, you shouldn't be is no panic, but you don't have them winning the West.
No. There's no panic because from my perspective, because there's no high expectations for me. I'm seeing now going into the season, of course, but I'm seeing how the Warriors are playing right now, and them with Clay will only get better. Like there's no chemistry that has to be tweaked. There's no like fine tuning. No, he gets back, and they're continuing on that roll. Mm-hmm. Like they're continuing to do what they do, and like Steph is having a phenomenal season. So
yeah, and we can get right into the Warriors. I mean, they've surprised me this year. Now I thought they'd be good. I think they'd be this good, 18-2 right now. They've had like the same record as they did back in 2014, 2015.
Yeah.
You know, so they're right around that ballpark. And I saw some stat. It was like the times that they were like 18-2, they won the finals. It was only in 2016 or the 2015-2016 season when they went 20-0, where it's 73 games. That was when they lost. But every time they've had like a great start like this, they won the title. So you know, it's not. It's not like wrong to be like, okay, they should be favorites right now. It's not overreaction. I definitely see where you come from in that aspect. And guys like Jordan Poole, I expect him to be this good.
Yeah.
Andrew Wiggins,
and
it's like they have
strong compliments.
Yeah, their bench. I feel like Curry is better than he's ever been. And particularly their bench is better than it was
in the past
when they won the championship. And they're younger. They had in 2016 they had Barbosa, Livingston, obviously Iggy, Azili, a good bench, but they're older guys. Now they have a better bench, and they're younger.
They still have lottery picks.
Damian Lee.
They don't play a lot.
Exactly. Because what's his name? Starts with a K. Kazinga or
Jonathan Kuminga.
Yeah, Kuminga.
And they have Moses Moody.
Yeah. On
the bench right now, not getting play time. Then as soon as Klay Thompson gets back, I don't know how they're gonna run the starting lineup, but I believe Jordan Poole will probably get pulled to the bench.
Yeah,
and that's another piece to the bench that's just going to be ridiculous. He's having a breakout season.
Exactly. So
that's going to be amazing. Honestly,
they're the Warriors' development of young players might be the best in the league. They find great talent, and Steve Kerr does a great job of really building up that young talent to prepare them for a season like this where they can really go all in and win the championship.
Let's not forget about Draymond Green. He's having a great season.
Best player of the year, possibly.
Yeah.
They could end up having. I think Curry's gonna win MVP. I mean, he's a favorite by a long shot right now. Curry's the MVP. They can have Draymond as the defensive player of the year. You could have a guy like Jordan Poole as the either most improved, or if he's coming off the bench with play out, he can maybe be a sixth man of the year. So they got all the tools, and they got James Wiseman coming back. The knock on the team in 2016, 2015 was they didn't have like a true big man, or they didn't have, that was like the weakness of the team. They didn't have a great big man. Now you got James Wiseman that is still young, just got drafted last year. Maybe if he didn't get injured, he would be in that race to be rookie of the year.
He would. He definitely would. He was having a great season. He was fitting into the system pretty well.
Exactly. So he's extremely talented too. So they got all the tools. I'm scared. I'm gonna stick with Bron. I still have the Lakers coming out, but I ain't gonna lie. Like, I'm not scared of this Warriors team right now. And Curry, I think he's playing better than he was in 2016. Like, he's going crazy this year. Going crazy.
He definitely is.
And let's get into Michael Porter Jr. So On the Nuggets side, Michael Porter Jr., he's out indefinitely. He's getting back surgery.
Again.
There was questions coming into when he got drafted. The reason why he got drafted so late, 13, was because of questions with his back. And I guess, those questions are coming back up because, he just can't stay healthy. But what are your thoughts on, Michael Porter Jr.'s injury and him being out for the foreseeable future?
Well, I think them as an organization, they're going to need to figure it out because over the past summer, they just gave him big money. Big money on that extension. So I think they need to figure out how good of a player and how healthy of a player that he will be for the organization and what role he will play. Because if you have somebody that you're trying to match with Jokic and Murray when he comes back, it's like you have to be able to know that he's going to be healthy. So I think that's a question they have to answer, and they have to do their best to get him healthy. And a back injury is a serious injury.
Play with.
They gotta take their time with it. Most importantly, so that when he comes back, he can come back for a consistent period amount of time and be healthy, so he can help the team win. Because we know that the Nuggets' ultimate goal is to win a championship.
Yeah.
So he's definitely an important piece.
Part of that piece.
So they need to figure it out. If they want any success.
I mean, they should take this slow, like you said, because his 5-year extension hasn't even kicked in. It kicks in until next year. So it's be cautious with him. Make sure that he's 100% healthy. Don't rush him back, because let's be completely honest, I didn't really see the Nuggets winning the championship this year. No. So why push him if y'all probably aren't gonna win the championship this year?
They still have Murray still out.
Got Murray out and all that. But I want to know what's going through the ownership's head, because they put in a lot of money into obviously Jokic, Jamal Murray, Michael Porter Jr. They gave Aaron Gordon like $84 million. I didn't know that was Aaron Gordon's agent is like the agent of the year for that, because I don't know how he got him that. But I gotta see how much they'll be in luxury tax. But it'd be interesting to see the owners with this luxury tax thing, and then they're not winning championships. It's like, how is the owners gonna feel with they invest a lot of money into this team, but a lot of two of their stars are injured right now. They're not gonna, especially with Michael Porter Jr. out, they're not gonna win a championship. So I would just say moving forward to really protect your asset. Like, Michael Porter Jr. is an asset for this team, and again, his contract extension hasn't even kicked in yet. So just make sure that he's completely healthy before you try to rush him back and all that, because it's looking like if he has another injury, it could be the end of his career. Like, this could be the end of his career. So really gotta just protect Michael Porter Jr. And it sucks because if he wasn't, if he didn't have back problems, he could very well have been a first or second pick in that draft.
First or second pick.
Definitely.
Top 3. So I think them as organizers, they need to get him healthy. That's after him signing that deal. I think that needs to be their main priority. Not to abandon ship, but to make sure he's healthy.
Definitely. And the last question of the podcast: who's the best player in the NBA right now? Is it Steph Curry? Is it KD? Is it Giannis? Is it Bron? Trying to think of who else. Jokic. Who you guys the best player as of right now?
The best player in the NBA right now is Steph Curry. Period. Point blank. He's doing everything right now. He's doing it all. Like you said, this is the best he's ever been, and he was the first unanimous MVP. He already has 2 MVPs. So I think that if he doesn't win it this year, I don't know who else, what criteria for MVP they have, but he definitely is the MVP this year, the best player in the world, hands down.
I think of right now, you're talking about right now, it's Steph. Not thinking the playoffs, it's going to be either between KD or it's going to be either between KD and Bron, even Giannis in that conversation, because then you got to look at defense. And the Warriors, I mean, they obviously collectively they have a great defense. They're holding their opponents to less than 100 points per game. But we're not going to act like Steph is some defensive ace or something like that. He's not now. They overblow it a little bit. He's not a terrible defender, but I do think that defense comes into account. But right now, the way he's playing, his confidence level, it's through the roof. Teams are scared to play him.
Yeah,
you got opposing fans cheering for him. Like the Nets, they were calling Curry MVP. He was in LA with the Clippers. The Clippers are calling him MVP. So even like the opposing fans are cheering for this dude. and he just makes it seem like anybody can be this kid. Like if you just work as hard as Steph, that you could end up being a great shooter like him. But he's had a great start to this season. Right now, I'll still say it's Steph, but look out for a guy like KD who is still having an unbelievable season.
Yeah, unbelievable.
Under the radar a little bit, given the fact that James Harden stuff has kind of like overshadowed KD
and Kyrie
stuff as well. But KD has had an unbelievable year. We're gonna see in the playoffs. Now I'm not going to fall into the trap of being too hype over the Warriors because we've seen this before in 2016 when my man Bron beat them down 3-1 and all that. But so we're gonna see what happens in the playoffs. But like I said, this is Real Talk with Miles Johnson, where we always keep it real. What you guys say, Chris, to end the show?
Well, it was a great show. Like my name is Chris, and I was happy to be here. So happy you had me.
For sure, you gonna be on the podcast more for sure. Especially second semester as well. And with that being said, y'all, this is Real Talk with Miles Johnson, and we out.